What's good, everybody? It's Kenneth Berry here. Touchdowns and Tangents, episode 256. Oh, it's been a shit show of a week. Let's just say that. But for starters, thankful that I'm here in the studio. Pete somewhere out there lost. Yeah, that's all I can say. Shout out to the Good News Radio, Good News Sports, X Squad affiliates, all our affiliates, everybody that we rock with. Most importantly, the year's literally almost over. It's December. We are here. We are, I guess, in the end game. Since it's the end of the year, for me, I'm kind of excited. I get to go visit my grandma. So I'm not going to be here next week in studio, at least. I think there'll still be a show, most likely. But who knows? We'll see how that works. But a deep breath, everybody out there. It's been a long week. It's been a long-ass week for me in particular. I'd lost my phone. I didn't lose my phone, actually. Somehow my phone got, water in it, in the worst possible spot, in the weirdest possible spot. Then my phone just shuts off. It just stops working. Once it stops working, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of in trouble. This is about to be an issue. I didn't have a phone last Wednesday or last Thursday. Had to pretty much go to 27 different spots where I knew they had payphones in the city near me. None of them worked. They all got destroyed. So I ended up going to Pete's house for Thanksgiving. We got the show. I mean, you heard it last week. Probably the shortest show of the year, but it's good. Not only that, managed to catch a piece of that Boise State, San Diego State game early in the morning. Surprisingly, actually not surprisingly if you watch Boise State football all year, their offense just didn't show up, and San Diego State just proved to be the better team. That's why they're ranked 19th in the country. They're 11-1. Brady Hoke is, Mountain West Coach of the Year, and Boise State's definitely going to need an offensive coordinator or something next year, because it's just that was not a good look offensively. They didn't show up, but the tailgate was great. I completely locked up Pete in a game of walk ball. He tried to cheat, but it was. How about this? I'll give him one catch. He actually had two catches, but one was 3 yards, and the other was really for at best was 5. Pretty much, he didn't beat me deep at all. I let him get a catch, a little quick shallow crossing route. That's all he could muster. But my catch, I beat him clean. He never saw the whip route coming. So once I had him beat on the whip route, I just turned it up. Easy catch, touchdown. Locked him up at corner. It is what it is. Everybody who was there, they saw it. And then I would have made it 3-0, but his brother threw a pick. It's okay. I just hope that he's not watching Derek Carr highlights. Don't watch Derek Carr highlights if you're an aspiring quarterback or whatever. Just don't do it. It's not good tape. Now, it was a slow Thursday. My fantasy team is out here fighting for its life. The Cowboys managed to just destroy the Saints defense, which we all saw coming. Alvin Kamara has been out for 5 weeks now. 4 or 5 weeks with a sprained knee, MCL. Amari Cooper came back, probably didn't do nothing as always because CeeDee Lamb gets all the touchdowns and the targets, and then Tony Pollard's out here with 60-yard touchdowns. The the Cowboys are a threat. And we were talking about it off air with Jackie and the guys from courtside. Me personally, I just can't. I can't root for the Cowboys. I can't do it. But I will say, Trevon Diggs got his 9th pick of the year. Micah Parsons got his 10th sack of the year. I mean, how can you not let him win Defensive Player of the Year? Like, him and Diggs are the backbone of that defense. And the Saints have wasted a Super Bowl defense. It's funny, all those years they didn't have a defense, and then they go to the Super Bowl. The defense is great for that 1 year. But, like, they wasted Cam Jordan's career. Like, they've wasted Marshawn Lattimore's career. They're wasting DeMario Davis. Like, they're wasting an elite defense with their garbage offense. Like, Taysom Hill, not good. They put up 17 points, but let's be honest. Dallas was in control of the game the whole way. When it comes to Thursday Night Football, the Saints and the Lions should just be nowhere near it. At least the Lions actually put up a better fight against good teams, even though they're 9-1 or 10-1. But if the Saints were gonna make the playoffs, after tonight, it's definitely over. They're pretty much in the basement with the Falcons. It's the Buccaneers and the Panthers. The Panthers are still in it. Cam has to play better. But realistically, it's the Buccaneers division to take. It's like, had the Saints managed to stay healthy all year, but like losing Jameis pretty much killed it for them. That was it. Taysom isn't really all that much. Well, we all know Trevor Siemian is terrible. So there's that. On top of that, just going about the league, there's no real team that stands out. I mean, the Packers decisively beat the Rams, who are now 7-4 with like the NWO 1990s WCW roster of talent. And it's not really going anywhere. For a team that can't run the ball and can't stop the run, and when they can kind of stop the run, they get beat deep downfield. Aaron Rodgers had a great day against that Rams defense. One of the most accurate and efficient quarterbacks of all time, if not the most. I'm pretty sure statistically he's the most accurate QB of all time as far as touchdown to interception ratio. Because like in the past 7 years, I think he's like 122 touchdowns, 15 picks. That's an insane ratio. And Devontae Adams is far and away the best receiver in the league. You just can't really do anything with him. You know, Jalen Ramsey really didn't stop anything. So it kind of comes down to it. If you can't stop the best receiver on their team, if you can't stop the other team's offense, like a Green Bay, and they got a bunch of injuries, if you can't stop an elite quarterback, if you make it to the Super Bowl if you're the Rams, if you have to play Dallas, like, what are you going to do? You still have the same problems. Nothing's really gotten better. Yeah, you have Aaron Donald, but guess what? The Super Bowl proved that's not enough against the Patriots. Just having Aaron Donald isn't good enough. Having Von Miller, who hasn't really done much, that's not enough. Having Jalen Ramsey, yeah, you can have an elite corner, but how many of these teams win Super Bowls with elite corners? Not a lot. The Niners got to the Super Bowl without an elite corner. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl without an elite corner. Yeah, Gilmore was on the Patriots when they won, but I mean, J.C. Jackson is pretty good. It just amazes me how you look at all these teams, man, like all these teams, and the Rams should be far ahead, and they're technically second in the NFC West. The Cardinals don't even have their starting quarterback and receiver, and they're far and away the number one seed right now in the NFC West because they lost to the Packers. I'm just concerned for the sheer fact that if you look at what they have left, Seattle could be a trap game, even though they're terrible and DK Metcalf is getting no targets. If you break down just what Stafford has been the past couple games, which is god-awful, which is Detroit Stafford, which is what everybody was afraid of, if I'm the Rams, do you try to get out of this Stafford deal if you don't even make the playoffs? Or if you make it as a wild card and get clapped, do you trade Stafford and try to get Aaron Rodgers? Because that would be the only thing to put the Rams over the top, is if they could somehow get Aaron Rodgers. Because they got nothing. They can't run the ball. They can't stop it. They're getting outclassed by a bunch of teams. It's not looking like a fluke anymore. It's looking like you're the third or fourth best team. Like, on a bad day, if you go up against the Vikings, they might clap you in a shootout. Odell's starting to get the ball more, but not enough. Cooper Kupp is starting to cool off. You know, it's, personally, I think the NFC really just comes down to three teams. Dallas, I can't believe I'm saying that, Green Bay, and Arizona. Those are the three teams that I think are going to be left standing. Philly's really just going to eliminate people. Minnesota don't have it on defense. And Dalvin Cook is hurt. And Kirk Cousins, even though he has 23 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, has made some of the worst throws at the worst possible time for them to lose games. So you got to ask yourself, like, if that's the NFC, okay, let's look at the AFC. The Patriots, and Himes was giddy as a fucking schoolgirl about this. Patriots are looking like a Super Bowl dark horse. They have an elite NFL defense, and even though the run game is trash and it's by committee, and they have no number one receivers, Mac Jones finds a way to win ugly. I don't think they're there yet, but I think they could upset Kansas City in the playoffs. I think they could upset Baltimore. They've lost some games, but Mac Jones is going to find ways to. You look at Kendrick Bourne, he's out there making plays looking like a number one receiver, but we know he's not. Nelson Aguilar making plays, we know he's not a number one receiver. Bill Belichick is just going to say, just get these guys in favorable matchups and make the best decisions. And if our offensive line just properly run blocks, we'll be okay. Personally, though, I still think it's up to the Ravens. The Bengals are kind of a dark horse because their defense is good, and their offense, barring any injuries with Joe Burrow, they got 3 legit receivers. Definitely number one. Boyd has had 1,000 yards receiving, and you got T. Higgins out there mossing people, and of course Joe Mixon. I don't think they can really afford to lose Joe Mixon at all. The issue, though, I have Kansas City isn't really learning their lessons. You got Kansas City, you got the Patriots. The Bills lost Tre'Davious White, so I don't know. I don't even know if the Bills can get past New England to get the number one seed in their division. So I just think personally, oh man, Super Bowl advantage goes to the NFC. If I gotta pick somebody, straight up, because Aaron Rodgers I trust. That defense for the Packers is starting to look elite. I trust that Packers offense, even with the injuries. Aaron Jones, once he gets healthy, thankfully they're in a bye week. Everybody can rest up. But the defense, like Rasul Douglas is just making key plays at the right time. And, you know, when he was in Philly getting toasted up by Amari Cooper, getting his ankles taken every other week, he soldiered through that. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's up, ugly?
Says the man who can't get into the building.
This is Pete Camarillo calling from the Del Taco parking lot on the street.
Hey, bro, you better actually bring me some food, too.
You didn't eat all day?
No, you fucking scumbag.
Damn.
Anyway, and you went to Fat Burger today. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, man, I'm having a day.
And you're from Hesperia. Tell everybody how you're from Hesperia. Tell people why you don't want to claim Hesperia in Sacramento. I think that's the real question, Pete. And tell them how you got shut out in walk ball.
Although, like, I don't care if you want to say I'm from Hesperia. I'm just really not from Hesperia.
I just want to know why you're not.
I spent more time there than you did in Oakland, so I mean, I guess you could say I'm from there.
How? I spent like the first 7-8 years of my life in Oakland.
I don't know about that. That seems a little stretch to me, but
I literally came out here in August of 1999. But like I was deeply entrenched in Oakland.
I need some receipts.
You can call my mom and ask her. She'll tell you the same thing.
All right.
Like everyone in my family, it's been established. Like
so you spent 5% of your life there.
My formative years.
That's where you're from.
My formative years. That's the key. My formative years. Your personality is what? Established by the time you're like 7?
Okay, so then technically I'm from Blythe.
What the fuck?
Or El Centro.
Wait, Blythe? Hold on. Okay. This man is a nomad. He is from nowhere and everywhere at the same time.
That's where I spent my formative years was in Blythe and fucking Calexico.
Bro, you're just naming places that I'm pretty sure have like a meth problem and an all-white high school football teams. Am I wrong?
No, they're probably sure Latinos.
Okay, well, I mean, the same, Monrovia at one point was all Latino, and then now it's all Asian. So, yeah.
Yeah, but that's closer to the city. Those are like remote, even for the IE.
Fair point. But yeah, man, so I pretty much
Hold on, let me finish my last taco.
This motherfucker. Really? Really? You could just let me ask the question while you finish the taco. So we wouldn't have to hear you smacking. This man defying all the laws of radio. But so I pretty much broke down, this bum ass game where I'm already down on the fantasy football score. Dog, I can hear you rumbling the bag. Can you just sit still?
I'm done.
This motherfucker. Anyway, so I pretty much just broke down, like, the standings are kind of trash right now. I mean, yeah, the Ravens.
I'm blocked out the building. Whoa.
What'd you just say?
Whoa. I'm blocked out the building. Whoa.
Well, I mean, it would be dead ass awkward if I just like played music. If I played music and then ran downstairs and then let you in, knowing you wouldn't run upstairs, you would take your sweet ass time. So we're here now.
I'm gonna make a 17-part video series about how I'm locked in the parking lot.
I mean, we're on Anchor again, so you can definitely do that.
But yeah, so to your point earlier, my friend C said, wow, maybe Derek Carr should go to the Rams.
I mean, didn't you just be in a worse spot with a younger guy?
He's slightly better than Stafford. Nah, they're like the same.
Bro, if you're selling your soul for a ring, are you going to, like, you might as well just go all in. They've already sold their soul for a Super Bowl appearance.
My whole thing is, and Keyshawn said this, is like, you didn't give up Matt Stafford to win one playoff game. You gave up Matt Stafford to win a championship. You gave up a 2 and a 3 to Vaughn to win a championship. Like, those aren't 1 or 2 win playoff team moves. Those are, you're trying to win the whole thing. All the chips are on the table.
Yeah, so, and Stafford's not looking great. When you throw a pick six to Rasul Douglas, you know, I like Amari Cooper owns his ankles.
Rasul Douglas gets picks though, bro.
And when he's not getting
that bad. I don't know why he hasn't stuck.
Because he's not.
Pierre Desir.
Nah, well, Pierre Desir got drafted by the wrong team. He was actually good on the Colts and the Jets for a little bit. I feel like he should just go to he should go to Minnesota, honestly. It was not already there.
Something about corners. It's something about corners. It's like a blessing and a curse, where it's like, I think there's something to like their attitude or personality that like makes teams not want to keep them around if they're not Pro Bowl, all pro locks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he is a journeyman, but you know he can do the job to an extent.
That's what I'm saying. Is there's a lot of players that can do the job that will stick around on team, but for whatever reason, it's like corners. You know, you win some, you lose some, but like it's just relentless in the league right now.
And I mean, I'll say this.
I mean, even Desir, I mean, the Bucks got him off the scrap heap again.
Wow, that's sick.
And it's like, how many teams has he been on? And he pretty much secured them a win. Game-winning pick.
Yeah.
So that's just how it is. Same thing with Douglas, and and he's had had picks last year too. He wasn't that bad in Carolina. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's good. Well, he's not that bad.
Yeah, he's like a 74 at corner. Wasn't he on the Raiders too?
Darryl Worley. Yeah, he got cut though in camp.
I broke it down earlier. I think the 3 teams that are realistically going to make it to the Super Bowl. It's between in the NFC. It's Green Bay, Arizona, and Dallas.
I don't know about Dallas.
Dallas can stop the run. Arizona can stop the run.
They just have too much adversity. Like something's in the water there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, all 3 of their receivers came back and they're healthy. Like, they have Micah Parsons.
It's like that ground beef that's like it doesn't look bad,
but there's some rot.
You defrosted it and let it sit on the counter for like half a day, and then refroze it again because you didn't have time to cook. So it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't smell right or have the same texture, and it's like, maybe I should eat this. That's what Dallas is.
Well, I'll say this. They have a corner who has 9 interceptions and a rookie defensive end with 4.3 speed who could be a Pro Bowler at linebacker and defensive end.
You want me to get your whole argument right now?
I mean,
I'm going to dead your whole argument in
rest
your
of the-
tracks right now.
bro, if the Cowboys beat the Rams,
you ready for
don't get mad. They already beat the Chargers. Dead the
Are you ready
argument.
for this?
So you're telling me
Are you ready
it's a
for this?
it's a 2-team race for
Are
the
you
Super
ready
Bowl?
for me to kill your argument right now?
Go for it.
They lost to the Raiders.
And a lot of teams lost to the Raiders.
Not good ones.
Name all the Raiders' wins.
I don't even know.
And, like, the Raiders are a bad matchup for certain teams. Like, the Raiders are a bad matchup.
Player, bro.
The Raiders...
They literally had no Darren Waller.
The Raiders are a bad matchup for teams like the Cowboys, the Saints. Like, they're a bad matchup for certain teams because all they got to do is just... Like, remember when they beat the Steelers and Terrell Pryor had that 90-yard touchdown run and that pretty much swayed the whole game? Like, that's what it takes. A couple big plays early, and you don't recover usually. Now, a team like Dallas, because of Dak, and even though McCarthy got COVID and he wasn't there, you literally, like, you have to play that all 4 quarters to the end. Because Zeke is a problem. The passing game is a problem. Even if the defense gives up 30 points, the offense is going to be like, well, fuck it. We're going to keep going out. We're going to keep going at you. And the Rams can't run the ball, nor can they stop the run. Arizona can...
Bro, the Cowboys barely beat the Chargers in the beginning of the season, and they lost to the Raiders.
I don't mean anything. That was a Thanksgiving game. Weird shit happens on Thanksgiving. But I'm just telling you, like, realistically, do you trust Dak or Matthew Stafford? You took too long to answer. That's my point.
What's the stakes?
No. It's either yes or no, and it's pretty simple that already...
What's the stakes, though? Are you asking me in terms of, like, I'm down 14, or is it a beginning of a game? Is it one drive? What is it, a game? Like, what is the stakes?
To get to the Super Bowl.
So you're saying in 4 playoff games, would I rather have Dak or Matt Stafford?
Yes.
The answer is Dak, because Matt Stafford's never won a playoff game. Obviously.
Okay, then. So what are you saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's proven he can win you a game. And whatever happens, like, this Dallas defense is probably the best defense they've had since DeMarcus Ware. Only because of the versatility of who they have on defense. You can't throw to Diggs, but you have to throw to whoever Diggs is covering because that's probably the best receiver. You have to hope that Micah Parsons doesn't wreck your game plan because he's a linebacker / DN edge rusher who runs a 4.3 740. He's faster than all your skill players, and he's strong as shit.
They're not winning
and he's
in
only
Lambeau
getting
Field.
he's only getting
They're
better.
not winning in Lambeau Field.
He doesn't have to, but notice I said there are 3 teams that realistically could get to the Super Bowl with no problems. The Rams would find a way to choke. They wouldn't be able to run the ball. You saw what they did against the Packers, bro. Like, that's the litmus test. Against a Packers team that has a bunch of injuries and Aaron Rodgers out here playing with the shattered pinky foot.
So you're sitting here and telling me a Cowboys team that was a touchdown away from getting swept by the AFC West is a Super Bowl contender.
Over the Rams at this point, bro. If Dak was on the Rams, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But Stafford has looked like Detroit Stafford without Megatron for the past 4 weeks. He has not been good. He's been the reason they've lost, and they can't run the ball.
6 turnovers in 3 games. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
When you're throwing a pick six to a nickel corner.
I don't even know why you're arguing with me. I'm not even saying that the Rams are Super Bowl contender. I'm just saying that that was their goal.
But that was the goal, and it's clearly they're looking like the Eagles with the Dream Team.
As far as I'm concerned, the NFC comes down to Green Bay and Tampa Bay. That's it.
Okay,
Everyone else,
Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Arizona.
To see who can get a little bit more of a playoff bonus.
Okay, if I excluded Tampa Bay since I assume they're already going to be there in the NFC title game. But I'm saying there's only 3 teams that could realistically make it there to play them, and it's the Packers, the Cardinals, and Dallas.
I'm not putting Dallas with Arizona and Green Bay.
Well, then you got to put the ramp. So it's a 2-team. It's only 2 teams.
You also got to factor in the NFC East. Those teams always play each other tough. So I think the Cowboys still have game versus each of the NFC East teams, right? So this is what happened to them last year, right? Weren't they in a similar situation? And they lost to a bunch of their divisional foes and missed the playoffs by a game, and Washington got in. Guess who's 1 game behind them? 2 games behind them? Washington.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and they have an XFL quarterback.
True. Now let's switch over to the AFC.
Put Dak on Washington. How about that?
That's a Super Bowl contender. But they also, I think, lost Chase Young. So, yeah. But let's look at the AFC here. All right, so we got the Patriots, who are dark horses, just get to the Super Bowl because they're smarter than everybody. And they have an elite defense. A lot of people are
comparing this team to Tom Brady's rookie year.
Yeah. I mean, their run game is trash, but they're efficient no matter who they have back there. Stevenson is like the guy right now. They don't have any number 1 receivers. Like, it's not even close. It's actually kind of gross and disgusting. But they make it work. But I don't think they can't go toe-to-toe. They can't score 35 with the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs' offense would have to get bullied. And the Chiefs can't really run the ball right now either.
I didn't start Tony Pollard. I'm pissed.
Wow. How do you not start him the rest of the season at this point? Anyway, whatever.
Zeke's been good. He's been out.
Tony Pollard has to be your starter in flex every week.
I have both.
He has to be your starter as a flex every week.
No, that's too much. That's too much riding on the inconsistent ass Cowboys. I'm telling you.
He's produced every week.
That's 20% of my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a quarter of my team being the inconsistent ass Dallas Cowboys. I'm good.
You realize I have DK Metcalf, right?
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
But really, Tony Pollard has really just come on these last 4 games.
So you have to keep playing him. And look at the matchups. He played against the Raiders, bro. He's playing against the Saints, who are terrible on offense. Yeah, but they're terrible on offense.
Every week, bro.
So you start them both. What are you doing, bro? I'm over here fighting for my life in fantasy. I'm over here fighting for my life in fantasy leagues.
One of my 4 Pro Bowl receivers.
Which one?
I got Justin Jefferson, Hollywood Brown, DK Metcalf, and DJ Moore.
Metcalf can sit his ass down. I would honestly sit Hollywood. I would put Hollywood on the bench over Pollard.
But I have Lamar.
Pollard's better. He's going to get you.
Dog, Hollywood Brown is a top 50 fantasy player, and he's missed 3 games.
Yeah, but still, he didn't get the ball. He played bad against Cleveland. Lamar played bad against Cleveland. And they're still the number 1 seed.
Hollywood didn't play bad. Hollywood caught most of his targets. He had the most targets.
Okay, let's break this down.
A dog, bro.
He is, but not in
might be the next D. Smith, bro.
Okay, he's not. He's not. I would say Elijah Moore, but whatever. But he's stuck on the Jets, so probably not.
That's a good comp.
Yeah, Elijah Moore is a dog, and the Raiders should have took him, but they're stupid, so whatever. But when I look at the AFC, I only see 3 teams realistically are going to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think the Bills make it past New England. I don't know if they win the division.
Run the ball.
Huh?
the Bills have to figure out how to run the ball.
Because Zach Moss is trash in fantasy.
And Devin
and in real life. And Matt
Both
Breida.
of them let me down.
And Matt Breida. None of those guys can run the ball. So you factor that in, and sometimes outside of Diggs and Dawson Knox, they don't have shit else.
And that's why Frank Gore's been getting calls all year.
Yeah.
Some of these teams cannot run the ball.
And it's shocking. But so you factor in the Bills might get canceled out by the Patriots, so the Patriots are up there at 2, and the Ravens, who beat the Patriots, so the Ravens are up there. And then you got the Chiefs, who I guess are up there just because, well, it's Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. You can't not put them up there. But honestly, I think if they have to go to Foxborough in December or January, they're losing. So realistically, I think the Ravens have the best chance to get to the Super Bowl because Lamar ain't throwing 4 picks every game. That's so uncharacteristic of him that he even did that. And
the Ravens have been scraping by all season long, and Lamar's played bad like 3 games in a row.
And they're still beating people. And their defense is coming up with plays every game.
Chin.
Doesn't matter. A win is a win, right?
Dog, any team that's lost to the Raiders, I'm immediately taking you out of contention. Period.
You sure about that?
Yep.
So if Lamar Jackson was on the Rams and the Rams lost to the Raiders, you would take him out of contention.
Yes.
That's ballsy. That
How do you lose to a team that's not creative on offense?
It's the NFL.
That can barely stop the run, that has 1.5 DBs, period.
I mean,
because they got a superstar kicker, bro. Our kicker is our best player, once again.
Shout out to the Miami Dolphins. They're not.
You could talk a lot of shit about the Raiders, but you could not say anything about our special team.
Ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, shit, Miami's.
Shout out to Tua for being 9-7 in his 16 starts.
People keep talking about that.
You were trying to get him the fuck out, bro.
People keep talking about that, but like he's not consistent. Like he keeps saying he's hurt, but it's like
for the past 5 years, and I'm sick of it. Choose a side.
What are they need to choose a side with Tua. What the fuck are the expectations for Tua? Either say he's doing perfectly fine in his first 16 games, or stop trying to fucking bench him for other people and get out of the just say we do not want Deshaun Watson. If everything was even, if nothing happened to Deshaun Watson with the whole cases, we would want Tua. Like, come out and say that shit. Put your nuts on the table for your quarterback. But if you're not going to do that, then yeah, I'm going to look around and be like, I wonder who would be better fit in Miami, because they got receivers. Waddle is nice. Gesicki is nice. They can't really run the ball. They really need a running back in the draft.
Back to Baltimore. So you're telling me a team that barely beat the Bears, barely beat the Browns.
They were hurt.
Lost to the Raiders.
That was an overtime.
Barely beat the Colts.
That was that was a comeback. First off, the Lions
barely beat the Chiefs.
The Lions almost beat the Rams. So what are you talking about?
So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Vikings, 6, 7. You're talking about 7 other 8 wins coming within the touchdown.
Hey, you want to know something funny? You want to know something funny? So
what?
Nebraska this year went like 1-9. And they set an NCAA record for the most losses under 7 points. All their losses came like under 7 points. Damn. Except like 1. So they almost beat Michigan, by the way, who beat Ohio State, who blew out Ohio State. So what I'm telling you is with football, and you know this like I know this, is that records don't mean shit. It's who catches you at the right time or the bad time. Think about all the injuries they have at running back, and they can still run the ball. Think about the inconsistency in the passing game, but you still can't cover Mark Andrews, and these other receivers are starting to.
It's pretty much like Lamar Jackson said. He said so himself. He's been playing like a rookie.
Yeah.
And I pretty much think that's how this year is going to play out. Just like his rookie year, they're going to make the first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. They're going to stop Lamar.
Who going to beat them? Tennessee?
Beat them decisively.
Who going to beat them? Tennessee? By the way, Harold Landry has 10.5 sacks. The Raiders passed on him. Harold Landry fell out of the first round, and the Raiders still didn't take him.
Who you telling? Who you telling?
I'm triggered already. Half the Titans' defense should be on. Jeffrey Simmons has like 8.5 sacks.
As a nose tackle.
Mississippi State, right? Mississippi State, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're right there. They're right there. You could just draft them. But no, LSU linebackers and LSU corners. But anyway, so what was next on the docket?
So yeah, the AFC pretty much just comes down to the Chiefs.
I don't believe that.
And if somebody catches them slipping, that's it.
I don't believe the Chiefs. I think Chiefs.
The title is going to be probably won in the NFC by either Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree.
Or Tampa.
I agree. But here's the thing. I think they could get tripped up by Denver. And I think San Diego is the kryptonite to the Chiefs.
I mean, potentially, but I'm not picking any of those teams in the
They're the
playoffs
same team, bro. They're the same team minus a better coach. The Chargers on paper are the same thing.
Here's the thing, though. We've seen Kansas City come back from literally everything.
Yeah. That's why I said they're the same thing minus the head coach.
So there's nothing that they fear.
Yeah.
COVID, scandals, trades, first quarter slumps, first half slumps, 21 down, 14 down, 1-4 start. Like, that means something.
Okay, so
that
fine.
Team has been together, and they got better this year. So, on paper at least, they have a chance. Whether or not they get caught by their division, I mean, that could be said for any team, really.
Because Denver could beat them. Denver has a top 10 defense.
But when you're talking about the Super Bowl, you're talking about what team you think is going to win 5 games in December, or in January now, I'm sorry. In January, who's going to win 5 games?
4 if you get a 1 seed.
And to me, that's really Kansas City. I would say maybe Buffalo if they had a running game, but they don't have a running game.
I think Buffalo and Tennessee cancel each other out.
I'd say the Patriots, but
their lack of an offense.
I'd say the Patriots, but they don't really know what they're doing. But they still got to figure out if their quarterback can hold up that long too.
Nah, they just don't have any. They don't have no one on offense that you're afraid of. So they just have to fundamentally be better than you, and that only goes so far.
Yep, exactly.
And Tennessee, if they had Derrick Henry, would have ran away with the 1 seed by now. But they don't. And they don't have their top 2 receivers either. So they have everything's on Tannehill, and they can't run the ball. Or they did last week with Foreman and that other dude. But, like, that's not consistent every week. And the Colts are catching up on people. The Colts could just snag the Titans. So realistically, it comes down to the Ravens, the Patriots, and the Chiefs. I don't see anybody else getting past those 3 teams, barring injury. What say you?
Yeah, I agree with that. But again, I don't know, man. I gotta see. I can't count the Patriots out, but I also can't just give them the benefit of the doubt. Like you said, Tennessee, same thing. And Kansas City, I mean, has already beat those teams when they were better. So they're not going to be afraid. And if they do get through their division and they do get a 1 seed, then they're just that much scarier, really.
All right. Well, we're going to go to college football news, and this is going to be fun. And since we're going to be talking about your favorite school, you got to sit here and you got to answer for some things. Now, quick fun fact, UCLA has had 6 players transfer, which means they can add 1 person to the recruiting class for this upcoming recruiting class. But nobody gives a shit about UCLA right now. Lincoln Riley was hired as the head coach for USC football, and he's already flipped Raleek Scott, number 1 running back in the country. Malachi, I forget, not Sanders. I think it's I forget his last name, but it's Malachi something. Coleman, I think Coleman. Yeah, Malachi Coleman, top QB. Black QBs are going to flock to USC now because Lincoln Riley has proven he can develop every kind of quarterback. He can develop a pocket passer. He can develop an elite athlete. Like Baker, Kyler, and Jalen Hurts. He's proven he can develop. He can get you to the NFL. So whereas USC was like, I don't know what Keaton Slovis does, but I think he has to either declare for the draft or transfer. He's done at SC.
Well, wait. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you finish, but I just want to know, what conference did he do that in?
The Big 12, which is the Pac-12 with slightly less defense.
The conference that you say is slow.
I said the Big 10 is slow, but that's not even true anymore. Outside of Ohio State, Michigan, the Big 10 is slow as fuck, but whatever. I never said the Big 12 was slow. The Big 12 has always been fast. No, the Big 12 has 10 teams. The Big 12 has 10 teams. Mathematically, it's confusing, I know. And they play, they have a conference tournament. Even though
they have 8 teams now, technically?
Technically. I mean, at least for another year or two. Like, Texas is mid, Oklahoma's mid, but DeMarco Murray's going to stay behind. That should be interesting. But Lincoln Riley, I hope USC or Lincoln Riley keeps Dante Williams because he really is the only reason why their DBs have gotten better. And he gets top flight recruits. Like, I wouldn't fuck with that defense. I wouldn't tinker it too much. I would go back to running a 4-3 and letting Corey Foreman and Drake Jackson be future top 10 picks. And stop playing games. Tuli Pilotu, he could honestly play defensive end or D tackle. But I think they need to have like a defensive line. They need to put the defensive line in a position to where guys are getting sack numbers. Because that's what they have on their D-line. Guys who can get after the quarterback. They're strong. You can teach better run fits. But like guys who have a special knack with rushing the passer, you can't fuck with that. You can't mess that up. And the DBs, honestly, are really good.
The thing that I'm trying to say, though, the point that I'm trying to make is just football over here is different. That's all. So
look at Lincoln Riley.
Everyone is pumping their chest for Lincoln Riley. And I get it. I mean, it's a big name. It's the first reason USC fans have had to be excited in, 8 years, 10 years?
Since Pete Carroll.
I get it.
Since Pete Carroll. Lane Kiffin.
I get it.
He's a better version of Lane Kiffin. Much better. Without the controversy. My thing
I
is,
get it, but let's just let it play out.
okay, here's why it works. USC already has 5-star recruits. They just need to be developed and coached.
Dog.
And that's what Lincoln Riley did at Oklahoma with lesser talent.
I've been watching UCLA trying to modernize their offense for 10 years.
Bro, UCLA is not a football school. Why are you even mentioning them?
Okay, but they still get top 5 recruits too.
No, they don't. They get top 5 guys at their position, but they're not pulling down. Like, they had Jalen Phillips, and where'd he go? Miami. And now he has 6.5 sacks as a rookie. And he went to the league because he went to Miami and got better. He didn't get better at UCLA.
What I'm trying to say is this. USC has a particular type of football that they like to play.
They're running
Lincoln Riley has tremendous track record and success, as you've alluded to. But it takes time for those synergies to kind of cross over, and it's not a guarantee.
Nah, man, this is kind of
the Pac-12, man.
Offensive, bro. The Pac-12 is trash. Let's just be honest. The Pac-12 is fucking hot ass garbage. Why do you think I keep saying the PC3 needs to happen? Because the Pac-12 has no
trash,
fucking spine left. Oregon is getting clapped off. Oregon got clapped by Utah, and they're playing in the fucking Pac-12 title game against who? Utah. Come on.
Okay.
Tell me that's a sign of a good conference.
Okay, what is the
The Pac-12 is just better than the Big 12. They're the same conference.
What is the best state for college football?
California.
Okay.
And Texas.
What conference has the most players from California?
The Pac-12.
So, how do those two things not align?
Wait, what's the point you're trying to make? Say it again.
How are you going to just drag Pac-12 for being trash, even though they get the most players from the best area?
Actually, some of the best players in California don't even play in California schools. They got a guy at Clemson. They got a guy at Michigan. There's a guy at Ohio State, C.J. Stroud.
I'm not talking about the best players, though. I'm just talking about in general as a whole, a collective of football in California.
And what do they do with it? And what do they do with it? What do they do with it? Oregon beating Ohio State was cool, but Oregon got clapped by Utah. So what does that do?
But the reason why that happens, to your point, and you're the first person to point this out, is because those 3 stars at Utah and Arizona and those other schools, sometimes they land in the wrong spot. Sometimes they go to the wrong high school, the wrong JC. But guess what? They've been playing 5 stars their whole life. They've been at all those camps. They're not afraid of that shit.
Okay.
That's why they beat up on each other.
Which goes to my point. San Diego State and BYU have beaten more Pac-12 schools than I think USC has this year. You realize BYU is ranked, 12th in the nation, and they're 5-0 against the Pac-12? They're the Pac-12 champions. And they're going to the Big 12.
But that's what I'm telling you, man, is this is a different game. Like,
so how come Georgia and Alabama have not stopped?
Going to USC is going to be different because
they're going to develop you, actually.
Not even just that, man. It's like, in Oklahoma, that's all there is, man. Oklahoma is everything there. Here, it's different.
No, a successful football team.
It's a different amount of pressure. Everyone knows the contract. Everyone knows the perks. If he's not going to get 4 years like Chip Kelly. Because, as you mentioned, that's not a football school.
Yeah, he will. He's going to get 4 years.
He's going to get, if he's not in a top flight bowl game.
In 2 years.
In 2 years, if he's not in the college football playoff in 3 years, he's gone.
Nah. Harbaugh has had like 4 to what the fuck? Well, that was weird. Well, Jim Harbaugh's had like 4 10-win seasons at Michigan, or 3 10-win seasons at Michigan, and he finally beat all the shit I talk about Michigan. And by the way, corrections and retractions, James Franklin signed a 10-year, $74 million contract. So sorry about that. I think I said $94 million or something like that, but it was $74 million, and Mel Tucker got $95 million. And then Mel Tucker went on and beat Penn State in the snow. So there's that. When it comes down to this USC situation, they've been missing a coach that can develop the elite talent that they recruit every year. Like, it's like if you had a Maybach in your garage and you never washed it or cleaned it or changed the oil, and you just let the shit get rusted, and then you try to go out and drive it and the engine blows because there's no maintenance. All this 4 and 5 star talent that constantly, Dormani Jackson's like the number 1 corner in the country on a modern day. Now he's deciding Alabama or USC. Now cats are like, oh shit, Lincoln Riley's at USC? Oh, he's developing guys. I want to be one of those guys he develops. Oklahoma, you can only go so far with Oklahoma. And now they're going to the SEC. They're about to get their shit pounded relentlessly. Because Texas A&M is tougher. You know, Ole Miss is a problem with Lane Kiffin. Mississippi State is a problem. I think Will Rodgers is only a sophomore, and he put up outstanding numbers this year. Like, you got to understand, if you're USC, you finally getting what you wanted. Now, you need to develop guys and produce. I think the turnaround at USC will be much better. They are 4 and 6. There's no way they don't win 8 games next year. There's no way Lincoln Riley is getting outcoached by whoever's at Arizona or losing to Arizona State. There's no way. He ran roughshod over the Big 12. Baylor got good enough to where now, like, they're a problem. Oklahoma State got good enough to now they're a problem. But Oklahoma State usually wins the Big 12 every so often. That happens. But Oklahoma, like, if Spencer Rattler had worked out, Caleb Williams was a spark plug, like, there's talent there. So when I look at Jackson Dart and everybody else they're bringing in USC, yeah, white QBs don't have much longer at USC. It's a new era. Because if he can get a Kyler, if he can find lightning in a bottle and get a Kyler Murray to come to USC, come on. Come on. Hopefully Pete calls back in. I don't know what happened. Maybe his phone died. I don't know. But yeah. When it comes down to Lincoln Riley at USC, slam dunk hire. But yeah, he has 3 years to get them to the college football playoff, or at least a top 10 finish. Like, it's not a game. And you gotta get Drake Jackson better and prepared for the NFL. You gotta get Coy Foreman, who decided to stay home when you could have went to Clemson. You gotta really commit. Like, you gotta be ready to retire at USC if you're Lincoln Riley. There is no, let me look for the next best job. This is it for Lincoln Riley. This gets no better. Now, Brian Kelly, who I've called out for years as a notorious scumbag, he squirmed out of his way out of Notre Dame at like 7 in the morning to take the LSU job. Now he's a new head coach at LSU. Apparently been taking pay cuts for years at Notre Dame, and now he's getting a pretty fat contract at LSU. Good for him. But he did the typical fake Brian Kelly thing that he does. He went down to LSU for, the pep rally and talked in a fake-ass Southern accent. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the character, hey Pete,
my phone died. I wasn't blank.
I figured, or you went to go get another taco. But yeah, I pretty much just wrapped it up with the whole USC thing. But go ahead, say your piece.
The last thing that I'll say on that is just, like, really think about it, bro. What's the last big name coaching hire that's really succeeded here in the LA market?
Pete Carroll.
And he wasn't even a big name. He was like a fourth, fifth, like all of LA sports, bro.
This is the biggest hire in a while.
Exactly, and the reason that is because, like, your niche, your spiel, all that shit is cute and fine and dandy, wherever the fuck you make your name. But when you come out here, we're the sports mecca of the world, like, it's different.
I think USC learned from them not being able to get Urban Meyer. And they got the next best thing in Lincoln Riley. You couldn't get Ryan Day, but you got Lincoln Riley, who's a young mind in college football. And like I said, when you were hung up, I said, there's nowhere else to go for Lincoln Riley. There's nowhere past up from here. This is the pinnacle. You're at USC. If you go back to Oklahoma, that's a step down. Anything back out of USC is a step down. Like, he has everything he needs to be successful. Unlike, Clay Helton had everything he needed to be successful.
Why did everybody think he was going to take LSU or Florida?
Because I don't think people saw him leaving Oklahoma to go to USC. I don't know. Like, no one saw that coming.
But
no one can say they saw that coming.
It's like, this is the arrogant. This is why it's so hard to win here, because this is the arrogance of USC. Because I've heard so many different things as far as, like, oh, well, we already have the talent. He just needs to come here and coach him up. I've heard, well, now he's turning recruits. And he's a great recruiter, and he's going to get the best recruits. So it's like, and now
he already has the best.
Well, he's a young offensive mind. He's a fiery guy. Like, okay, I get it. He's got a lot of great things going for him. But what is it you really actually expect and need from him?
National championships.
It sounds to me like USC doesn't really know.
No, they know. They know.
They're just desperate to win. And that's what it feels like. It feels like a desperation move, and it might pay off, or it might blow up in the face, just like the Rams, just like the Lakers right now.
So Chip Kelly, did you say like not a desperation move? He's had 4 years.
Yeah, it was, but it was also
and all he won was 6 games.
A long-term thing.
But all he won was like what, 6 or 7 games? That's competitive. USC is 4-6, bro. You can't tell me Lincoln Riley coaching a USC team that has already a bunch of 4 and 5 stars on it right now is losing to Arizona State or Oregon State. Jonathan Smith got an extension. He's doing great at Oregon State, by the way. Like, there's a lot of these schools that are improving, and everybody in the Pac-12 is slowly improving, except Arizona. But Lincoln Riley literally...
That's like Andy fucking resurrecting the Vandals, bro.
Huh?
That's like Andy being a coach at Idaho, bro.
Bro, Idaho's never been good, except like 1 year.
That's my point.
But even they get California recruits. They got a 3-star recruit.
Yeah.
But Oregon...
But yeah, anyways, my point is, like, I don't know, man. It seems like...
You gotta see it first.
It seems like this is being billed as both like a rebuild, a retool, and also a restart all at once. And it's just like, yeah, I just gotta see it.
Bro, it's a new era. I think he'll bring some accountability to that program. Cats got to get better. They got to leave. Because with Clay Helton, he wasted a lot of talent. A lot of talent didn't get better. Where would Adoree Jackson be had he gone to LSU? Probably better, right? Yeah. If Juju went somewhere else, he'd be a lot better, right? Maybe not Juju because, he was – everybody saw him as a safety in most places. But, it's just not enough to have 5-star talent and then not develop it. It's okay. It's one thing if you develop the 3-star guys on your roster. That's great. But so do all the Boise States and San Diego States and Memphises and everybody else. It's easy to enhance a 2-3-star guy. But if you're not enhancing 4 and 5-star guys to where they can actually put the fear of God into a school like Alabama, then what are you doing? The measuring stick is beating Alabama. Because if you can beat Alabama, you can beat everybody else. Clemson ain't what it used to be. Ohio State is...
College football isn't what it used to be. And I think that's also what USC has to understand.
That's why Lincoln Riley's perfect.
Yeah, it is. But it's also different again. Because guess what? That 93rd man in Oklahoma, you get broken off with some bread as a Sooner. Not playing a red shirt Sooner, bro. Out here, you're not getting that.
Yeah, you are. What are you talking about, bro? LA, there's money everywhere. There's money everywhere in LA, bro.
And there's celebrities everywhere. There's influencers everywhere. There's athletes everywhere.
So if you flip it right, bro.
You're just one in a bucket. You're not a big fish.
You don't have to be, though.
If out there, though, what I'm telling you, though, out there is if you're on the Oklahoma football team, you're one of the top famous people, like the top 100 famous people in this fucking state.
Okay, but what market is Oklahoma?
Out here? Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So there's money out there for that person to be made.
Per capita.
There's an opportunity for that person. Out here, it's not the same. There's still opportunity at USC in general, yes, of course. But also, it's different. It's just different.
It's the same thing with Notre Dame.
Different building.
It's the same thing when we were talking to Eric. There's a reason why cats aren't running to San Diego State when Notre Dame is offering them a scholarship, right? In the South, would you if someone's offering you a scholarship to go to HBCU or Florida's offering you a full ride, you going to be a Gator or you going to go to Jackson State? Let's talk about it. That's all I'm saying. But next, let's run through this college football real quick. So your favorite former coach, dude who I called a coward and a piece of shit numerous times, dating back to how he left Cincinnati at their fucking senior banquet, I think the night before the Sugar Bowl game against Tim Tebow in Florida, or a day or two before. I think Travis Kelce was on that team, him, Marty Gilliard. When Brian Kelly told the whole Cincinnati football team when they were 12-0, I'm taking the Notre Dame job and I'm leaving right now, and they booed him at the fucking banquet. Yeah, I guess he didn't learn too much of a difference. He pretty much did almost the same thing in Notre Dame, texted guys the night before, and then had a meeting with nowhere near as many players, mostly team leaders, maybe 6 or 7 guys, because the whole team ain't getting up at fucking 7 a.m. to hear you talk about how you're going to LSU. He left to get on a plane to go to LSU in his Notre Dame gear. He gets to the LSU pep rally, and he's talking in a fake Southern accent. Bro, Brian Kelly's a piece of shit person. I don't care how you put it. I'm not hating on him for going to LSU. It's a better job with less pressure because Notre Dame is independent and they have to pretty much go undefeated every year. And even then, when they get in big bowl games, all they do is get blown out. So it's less pressure and more reward, and he's getting a fat contract for going to LSU. And shout out to Marcus Freeman, former Ohio State linebacker.
Well, I think you've been dogging him as a mid coach for a minute, so I think this is going to be a road test, right?
Yeah, but talking in a fake Southern accent, oh, man.
You got to go through the SEC every week.
Oh, yeah, and when Oklahoma and Texas When you got to play Oklahoma,
NFL players every week.
Yep, and when you got to play Oklahoma and Texas, and you can't even get cats out the transfer report, Spencer Rattler might want to consider going to LSU. I wouldn't follow Lincoln Riley to USC because I don't think he beats out Jackson Dart. So if I'm Spencer Rattler, I'm like, where's there no competition? Where do you need me? I'm going to go there. I would consider LSU because none of their QBs really got it like that. Brad Johnson, he could beat out Brad Johnson's son, who's the lefty, I think. But, yeah, so Marcus Freeman's now the head coach, the defensive coordinator. He's a team favorite. Really great coach. I think he's, the second or third black coach in Notre Dame history? Maybe the second, because it was Tyron Willingham. But Freeman's a great defensive coach, and the players loved him. Kyle Hamilton's probably going to be a top 5 pick at safety. So defensively, there's no problems there. They've definitely had no problems there on defense, and he's the mastermind of it. And it's good that he's getting a chance. And he was, a former Ohio State linebacker. So, Ohio State coming to the rescue of Notre Dame again. But I just think it's really cowardly, and people should never talk about kids in the transfer portal ever again. Now, some of these kids should have just had no business going to that school. Should have took your ass down to Boise State or San Diego State or a mid-major and become a star there. Because there's no room. Some of these 3- and 4-star guys need to know there's no room for you at this big-ass school. I know you want to go there and get a degree, but maybe like 10 of y'all need to just team up and go to fucking Appalachian State and take over the Sun Belt. You know what I mean? Like, why don't y'all just, like 8 3-stars just say, hey, fuck it. Let's just all go to, UNLV. If you're really that good of a... Huh?
Isn't that what usually happens at JUCO?
I mean, there's plenty of cats who come out of JUCOs.
No, but that's what I'm saying is a bunch of 2- and 3-star players like, let's just go to JUCO and just show what we can do.
Well, yeah, because you got to get tape. And if you're not getting tape, and sometimes tape in practice ain't enough. They want to see you actually, like, competing. Because people's bodies change after high school. Like, Hassan Riddick is a perfect example. He was a corner in high school at like 166 pounds, and he left Temple as a fucking first-team All-American defensive end at 250 pounds. So, like, people's body types change, things change. But with Brian Kelly and LSU, he going to try to hide. I'm telling you. Like, Elias Ricks is gone. Stingley shouldn't come back for his senior year. He should just go pro. He's a top 5 corner. They got somebody else.
I'll be honest with you. I think we've reached peak coach.
Like, what do you mean?
I think in general right now in football, we've reached a point to where, like, the coaches are just really overhyped.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And I think at some point it's going to pop and things are going to come back to reality. But right now, it's like things are so crazy with COVID and just life in general that it's like, okay, well, we need to get a leader. We need to get someone who can get the ship straight. But it's like, even in the SEC, I mean, look at how many great coaches are in the SEC right now. They all can't win.
But you can go 10-2. I can't believe Lane Kiffin, like Ole Miss, they've never had a regular season with 10 wins. I was shocked at that. I did not know that. Yeah, as many great wins as they've had, programs they've had, Lane Kiffin could just stay there and be king, honestly. He could just wait out Nick Saban and say, nah, I got y'all asses. Or Spencer Rattler could end up at Ole Miss, honestly, because Matt Corral's gonna put his name in for the NFL draft, or at least he should. But yeah, this whole Brian Kelly thing, like, I just want people to know he's a fucking scumbag. And that's the kind of person that's coming to recruit your kid and talk about honor and dignity when really he only looks out for himself. And then I heard the whole video. Players leaked the video of him talking to them, and it was the most just coach speak bullshit. It was fake. Like, it was so fake. Like, bro, you've been better off just not saying nothing and just releasing a press release. It's just fake. Like, I wouldn't trust anything he said to me if I was a player. And yeah, like Kyle Hamilton said, I didn't come to Notre Dame for Brian Kelly. I came to Notre Dame because it's Notre Dame. And
and that's what I'm telling you. Same thing with Lincoln Riley. It's like these institutions are 100, 2-year, 200, 300, 400-year institutions. Like, they have history, bro. Like, they have cachet, they have energy. Like, you can't just say, oh, we're just going to put the coach here and then just everything will work itself out. It's like, maybe, but also it could not.
Yeah. I'm gonna speed through the rest of this. So as far as college football rankings go, all the conference title games are coming this weekend. Pitt versus Wake Forest in the ACC title game in the most useless. What the fuck just happened? Oh, in the most useless title game of all time. Pitt versus Wake Forest. Nobody cares who wins that game. Like, nobody cares who wins that game. Kenny Pickett is supposed to be a NFL draft pick. I don't see it, but whatever. I mean, he's had like a great year. I think he has like 43 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So he's having a hell of a year for Pitt, but I don't really see it. Their offense is great, but their defense is trash. That's why they have like 4 losses, I think. Billy Napier, the Louisiana head coach, who did great for them and made them Sun Belt contenders and turned that program around, he's not going to be the head coach at Florida, and I honestly think that's perfect. I think it's perfect for him. Salute to him. Also, yeah, another reason Brian Kelly's kind of a bitch is because apparently Robert Saleh and another coach, I want to say the Green Bay Packers head coach, they were apparently assistants a long time ago. They got invited to a Christmas party, and they had to like do valet shit and like shovel snow the whole time. And they vowed they would never like treat people the way they got treated by him. So yeah, there you go. Another reason why Brian Kelly's a piece of shit. And he doesn't, and he can't win big games. He can't win big games.
Like the reason why you go to LSU is because you're trying to get to the league.
Yeah.
You go to Notre Dame, you could be trying to get to the league, but you could also just be really into the tradition of it.
And power.
Exactly. Same thing with Oklahoma. Like, you're going to Oklahoma to play football and to be the football player, like to live that college football experience. At USC, you might be going there for that. But more likely, you're going there to win a championship, get to the league, and get those connections.
Yeah.
So it's like it's different. Like, that's why it's so hard, because you gotta manage all that, but also try to balance your own what got you there.
Yeah. Also, so for the playoffs, right? So Cincinnati's ranked 4th, and honestly, I think if Oklahoma State or Baylor, because I think Oklahoma State's ranked 7th and Baylor's ranked like 8th, I think whichever one of those teams wins the Big 12, they can end up jumping Cincinnati, even though like Cincinnati plays in their conference title game against Houston, which is ranked 21st. If they beat Houston, that should be enough to keep them at 4, and I think if Bama loses, they should definitely be out of the playoff. But I could see them, like, if Cincinnati barely skates by and then Alabama barely loses to Georgia, I could easily see them just leaving Alabama there. Notre Dame is at 6 for no fucking reason. Notre Dame is at 6 for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Don't you want them to get in now so that you could say...
No, their schedule is unimpressive. They blew out Stanford, who's 3-8.
Yeah, but
who beat USC.
Don't you want them to get in without Brian Kelly so that they can be like, yeah, we won without Brian Kelly?
No, because your schedule's not good enough, and you didn't fucking beat anybody, and you lost to Cincinnati, so you definitely shouldn't be in, and you shouldn't even be in over any of the Big 12 schools. I think Ole Miss is better than Notre Dame. I think Ole Miss will beat the dog shit out of Notre Dame, and also, yeah, I forget who's at 5, but Georgia is only averaging 6.9 points per game. They're only giving up 6.92 points per game. Oklahoma State is a great defense, which is, but I think Georgia has to beat Alabama and just slay that dragon for once, because they almost lost in the Iron Bowl. Michigan is totally safe at 2. They just have to win the Big 12 championship. I think they're playing Iowa. I forget who they're playing, but they just have to win the Big 10 title game, and they're set for the national championship pretty much. I don't want to see Bama in this shit, even though they probably are the 3rd best team in the country. Cincinnati needs to be in. Like, it's a joke if Cincinnati doesn't get in. At least let them lose on their own merit, because I don't think they're good enough. But at least let them lose on their own merit and don't shut them out like you do every other, non-power conference school. Fresno State, their head coach is going to take the job at Washington, and Fresno State's QB, who was a Washington transfer, Jake Hebner, who threw like 32 touchdowns, had a great year for Fresno State, he's going to transfer. Most likely he's transferring back to Washington to be with his head coach, Kalen. I forget his last name. Bronco Mendenhall stepping down. He resigned as a Virginia football coach, former BYU coach. The NCAA is creating a 40-second bowl game, so now all 84 bowl-eligible teams can play. Hawaii, who is 6-7, is going to play Memphis in the Hawaii Bowl. Former UCF running back Otis Anderson Jr. was killed by his father. I think he was 26. It wasn't Otis Anderson, the running back for the Giants. He's been saying, no, it wasn't me. I don't know that young man, and I'm not his father. I didn't kill him. So don't go after that, Otis Anderson. And Adrian Martinez Jr., it's a bunch of people who've gotten the transfer portal, but he's the all-time yardage leader, all-purpose yardage leader at Nebraska. Adrian Martinez Jr., and he's transferring, and he's in the transfer portal. So Nebraska has to start all over now. And yeah, so now, hold on. All right, Pete. So Antonio Brown got suspended, along with safety Mike Edwards, for 3 games for the fake vaccination card. Take your tangent.
I mean, what did he really expect to happen? He really thought he was going to get away with this. Dude, pay your chef, get vaccinated. It's not that hard. For as great of a player as Antonio Brown is and was, it's not even sad. It's just like why?
He's from Florida.
Why do you keep doing this to yourself?
He's from Florida. I just want to know one thing. How is his crime worse than Aaron Rodgers? Because I feel like there's some collusion involved on Aaron Rodgers.
No,
people knew he wasn't vaccinated.
That's a fucking reach, bro.
People on
That's a fucking reach.
There's no way people didn't know he wasn't vaccinated, bro. You can't tell me nobody knew he wasn't vaccinated. You're telling me nobody knew he was vaccinated?
That's different than lying about being vaccinated and presenting a document saying that you're vaccinated when you're not.
And the funny thing is, he was hurt, so he wasn't going to play these next 3 games anyway.
Aaron Rodgers went the plausible deniability route. He veered the smart way.
Yeah.
He landed in the gray area. Antonio Brown just did some ignorant ass shit.
True.
And thought he was going to get away with it. And he didn't. Why? For no other reason than him just being sloppy and getting stitched on.
True.
Like, dog, handle your business.
Pay your people.
Exactly. None of this shit even gets out.
Yep. All right, number 2. The Bills' Super Bowl hopes. What are the Bills' Super Bowl hopes now that all-pro corner Tre'Davious White is out for the season with the torn ACL? Take your tangent.
Shitty one. Pass.
So you're telling me it doesn't matter that their best corner, one of the best corners in the league, tore his ACL and he's out for the year? That doesn't require a take or a tangent?
We already talked about the Bills. 1, 2. I mean, what do you want me to say, bro?
Like, damn. Like, how much of a...
I got nothing to say on it. You say something. You want to take your tangent on it?
I think they have no hopes of winning a Super Bowl now that he's hurt. It's over. The dream's dead. Try again next year.
That's it.
All right, Christian McCaffrey's out for the season. Christian McCaffrey's out for the season.
Why don't play injuries and take her tangent?
Nope. Because he's out for the season now. They paid him this fat-ass contract. He's been injured like almost 2 out of the last 3 years.
All I'll say is the controversial trade that happened in my fantasy league at the beginning of the year, the dude who traded for Christian McCaffrey is out of the playoffs. And the dude who traded Antonio Brown and Christian McCaffrey for the 2 Rams running backs is in second place.
That's not fair and disgusting.
Well, it looks so. Like I said before, sometimes when you're winning,
you're really losing. All right, well, this one's really gonna either piss you off or it's gonna make me laugh. Adrian Peterson signs with the Seattle Seahawks.
Haven't we already seen this? Wasn't this when they signed Marshawn a few years ago? Dog, again, like I said,
all the running backs are hurt.
Somebody else said it, man. If you're playing this old, if you're playing when you're this old, that means you're probably broke.
What if he's playing for the love of the game? Frank Gore can still play at year 17.
I mean, he could be. I mean, you're right. He could be.
It's AP.
Sure.
It's AP of all people.
Yeah, for sure. And he's had the game taken away from him multiple times. So I feel like
there's a conspiracy against him.
But also, well, I wouldn't go that far.
Once he said the NFL is like a slavery plantation, they were on his head. But what is the combine? A fucking slave auction.
Okay, so you're gonna forget all the.
No, but I'm saying he said that before. He said that before all that happened, and him saying that gave them a reason to go after him even harder. Because he's not the only person who beats his kid. Technically, by all accounts, Tyreek Hill should be in prison for almost killing his fucking child and beating up his pregnant girlfriend. But we let him develop and become a better person, and no one talks about it anymore, except Nick Hamilton. Salute. Even though he said, never mind. Shout out to Nick Hamilton, though, for real.
And didn't one of AP's other kids get his ass beat by like his stepdad?
Yes, I think the stepdad killed him almost. I think he did kill him. It was an Asian dude. That's the whole situation. But AP was just guilty of growing up in an era where you could beat your children to death, and if they survived,
that's a cop out.
Depending on what.
That's a cop out, bro.
Nah, that's a Southern mentality. That's a Southern mentality, bro.
Of 1990s gas guzzling, smog producing cars. But guess what? I drive a hybrid.
We were born in '92, but AP is older than us.
Adapt or what?
AP's older than us, bro.
Evolve and adapt or what?
Get your chain snatched. I know.
All right.
But I'm just asking you though, like, because remember, did you see the 30 for 30 on Patrick Willis?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you need to go. You need to go watch it, and it'll teach you something. It'll be like, that's, bro. In the South, there's just a way of how they do things, and it usually traces back to either some form of fucked up slavery or just parents who didn't have enough and didn't know how to solve the problems of their children, so they just beat the fuck out of them. Like, there's a lot of trauma there in how you raise a child and abuse it.
A childhood is only 100 years old, bro.
Yeah.
A childhood is only 3 generations old.
Yeah.
Before that, everyone was working in a fucking factory, doing what they had to do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. We're all just playing it by ear. But to the point of AP, man, it's like, you're right. He could be playing for the love of the game, but at the same time, there's other ways to get back to the game than just playing and sacrificing your body and just, being in the grind of it. And if I can't, if he still loves that at his age, I mean, respect to him, but also, there's something kind of off there, especially at that position.
I mean, I think this isn't as bad as Jerry Rice trying to come back and play with the Broncos. That was some nasty. He should have known. Like, bro, you weren't fast.
He was still playing, though. He was
still making catches, but it's like he wasn't the best receiver.
Yeah. I mean, I think he'll be better than he was in Tennessee, right? Like, he's got to be in better shape.
Because they couldn't run the ball. I mean, not with Deontay Foreman, they did a little bit better, but they still lost.
Great shape.
I mean, you got to get the ring rust off. But in Seattle, I think they need a goal line back. Because Chris Carson stays hurt. Homer's hurt. Like, all their running backs are just always hurt. So it's like, fuck it. Get AP.
Basically.
At least so we can run the ball. At least so he can, provide some veteran leadership. Because, I mean, it worked when they brought in Marshawn and Travis Homer had a career game. So, you never know. But lastly, RG3 comes out with a tell-all book about his time in the Washington Redskins, and he clarified when he talked about he was going to talk about the sexual harassment. He was talking about sexual harassment that happened to him.
Yeah.
Touchdown and turnover.
I mean, I'm going to say it's a touchdown just because I think RG3 is an interesting story. So I would like to hear from him. With that, though, feels kind of nasty to me to, I don't know, dog, he's only been out the league a year. So you couldn't have waited for the dust to settle a little bit? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe he wants to get out in front.
To me. Seems a little bit too timely to me, one. And two, I'm always skeptical, especially after the Kaepernick series. I'm just skeptical when somebody tells their own story.
I could see how this could be seen as a money grab, but I mean, he might as well get out in front of it because maybe he has something. Maybe the dude who was the face of the franchise, maybe he might lead the way for somebody else.
Yeah, I'm sure he does have some good insights and information to share. That's what I'm saying. Is he's a hell of a story for sure. Oh, no doubts about that. It's just the method. I don't know.
I mean, he talks about it. He's like, yeah, they totally mangled my leg and mishandled a lot of things, but I stayed quiet about a lot of it. When do people have the right to tell their story? It's not his fault that the WTFs are just a horribly run organization.
Okay, Kenny, you're a journalist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the fundamentals of journalism?
Say it again.
What's the fundamentals of journalism?
Comfort the afflicted, afflict the comfortable.
Okay, I guess that's more of the ethics, but I'm just saying, like, when it comes to actually the content.
Oh,
what's the starting point?
Tell the truth, be impartial.
No.
Be consistent.
Where, when, and why?
Oh well, shit. That's the writing editorial part, bro. You should have led with that. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
my brain tells me he's gonna make money off this book.
I'm skeptical on the why. I'm skeptical on the how.
No, you know the why. You know the why. Money and money and narratives.
Okay, but why a book and not a movie or a show?
Who the fuck has time for a movie, bro? Like, who has time for a movie? He's been writing this book for a long time, clearly.
RG3 does? What is he doing? All he's doing is college game day.
Yeah.
Signing autographs.
I mean, Baylor is a resurgent program. So, I mean, he's living his best life.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's like, that's why it's cool when someone tells your own story. Like, cool, own your narrative, tell your narrative. I want to hear from you. Like, it's better than nothing. But at the same time, like, it just takes, I don't know, like, it also helps to have, like, someone with whose job it is to have a creative vision and tell a story and, like, to really find the nuggets and the lead and not just what you want to get out of, what you want people to know and what you think they care about. Like, that's all.
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying the book though. Honestly, just to read it and do like
I'll borrow it from you.
Yeah. At this point.
All right, I got one for you. Okay, so there were rumors that Cliff Kingsbury might consider going back to college football for the Oklahoma job. Touchdown or turnover, college football being the better spot for coaches than the NFL.
I think Cliff Kingsbury has been perpetrating a fraud as an NFL head coach this entire time. So, yeah, I don't know if they're going to renew his contract. And honestly, I would rather...
Oh, they're the 1 seed right now in the toughest division.
But is it really because of him?
That wasn't the question, though. The question is, touchdown or turnover, college football having more pool with coaches than the NFL.
I think that's a touchdown.
So you'd rather be a coach in the college football right now?
Yeah, more control. I think if you're not ready, I think because if you have Urban Meyer, who clearly is stuck in hell. Like if he could get out of Jacksonville and go to Oklahoma, I think he would do it.
All right, next one. Cordero Patterson listed as a reserve safety with the Falcons. Touchdown or turnover for Cordero.
That's a touchdown, and we can never call him a bust again. This man needs to make the Pro Bowl, even if he doesn't hit 1,000 yards. Everything he's had.
As a returner.
I think there should be like an all-purpose like player for the Pro Bowl, and he should make it as a Pro Bowler.
Tells you the state of the Falcons DBs. That's all I'm gonna say.
When he's like literally coming out of Tennessee. He's a third-string safety, but coming out of Tennessee as a first-round pick for the Vikings, you know they mad. They're like, so we just had Percy Harvin again, and we didn't use him properly. Like, we could have just used him at running back this whole time.
Well, that was kind of what that's what they kind of pegged him as, but then they just kind of gave up on it too fast.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he still returns kicks for touchdowns. Damn near, he's
all
almost
right,
yeah, go ahead.
Last one. Gronk says he's coming for Tony Gonzalez's record, touchdown or turnover.
I mean, Tony Gonzalez isn't even the best tight end of all time, so I would take Gronk if I'm starting from scratch. I would take Gronk over Tony Gonzalez.
I agree with you,
but I think Antonio Gates is better.
The turnover, because what else is the fucking Latinos got, bro?
Anthony Munoz. Tom Flores, Jim Plunkett.
Yeah, so you're gonna take one. So you're gonna take the best record from one of our Mount Rushmore.
I mean, it's not his fault that. And first off, he still has most of the tight end records. This is just one he's losing. So you're not losing anything. Calm down. Antonio Gates is a better tight end than Tony Gonzalez. Better blocker, better receiver, faster, more athletic, caught more touchdowns. Those are facts. Statistically, you can look it up. And I think he had more of 1,000-yard seasons, too. Antonio Gates was out there just that receiver, just routing up corners, bro.
Okay.
Tony Gonzalez spent most of his career routing up linebackers and nickel guys.
I'm not arguing with you.
Now I'm saying, like, I get Tony Gonzalez was like the first great pass-catching tight end, but he was practically a receiver. Can we just be honest? Because he didn't block. He was practically a wide receiver.
He's basically Darren Waller.
Nah, Darren Waller's faster than him, and stronger, and taller. Like, he's like the.
But I'm saying he's the number one receiver at tight end, and they have no receivers.
Tony Gonzalez is what Travis Kelce would be if Tony Gonzalez never existed.
What I'm saying is he benefits from them also not having any receivers.
Yeah, but like I said, Tony Gonzalez is what Travis Kelce would be if Tony Gonzalez never existed. Travis Kelce is going to live in his shadow. But yeah, on to the rants.
I'm going to close out and hang up because I got to go give my brother his man of the night. But yeah. It's been a long week for me, man. I haven't had a full 4 hours lack of sleep, it seems like, since like Sunday, but it's been an interesting experience going through this ACL recovery with my brother. But everything's good for the most part. You know, he's just in pain, recovering, but the surgery went as planned, so nothing unexpected. So that's good news. He actually fell into one of the doctors who used to work for the Lakers, so that's pretty cool. That kind of reassured me a little bit. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we went to the game last week. That was pretty lit. Had a good time. Blacked out before 4 p.m. Yeah, like, it was great to get out there. Like, I remember a few years ago, we went up to the Rose Bowl, and it was kind of the same thing, just different colors. Like, and that's really part of the reason why I love football is, you know, watching Andy play Corona, watching him play at Boise. That's really what kind of caught my attention. So it's great to just kind of, you know, bring everything full circle. But yeah, man, that's it. Have a good night. Thanks for holding down the show again. Get home safe. And yeah, don't Uber ice cream.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. All right. We'll keep mine simple. My little sister, my younger sister, Chelsea, her birthday is December 5th. This Sunday. She will be 24. Oh, man, I feel old. Like, between my nephew turning 6 months, him, my mom, they spent a couple days in Oakland visiting my grandma for Thanksgiving. Then they came back, and, like, my nephew was trying to, I could tell, like, he knew who I was. It took him about, I'd say, 40 seconds to recognize it was me. And then just ever since then, he's just, that kid just brightens my day, man. No matter what I'm going through, no matter what I'm feeling, I just look at my nephew and I just go, it's going to be all right. And I got to keep pushing forward, you know. So when his time comes, the path is easier for him. That's kind of where I'm at with things now. Like, it really is about your last name. Like, it's not about me anymore. Like, my 20s kind of taught me that early. Like, it's not like it's about what you want to do. Now you have to go do it, because what you have to go do, it has to work for your life, but for you to really have some joy and some happiness, it has to encompass other people too. Like, how do you want to impact other people's lives? That's kind of a big thing for me. And yeah, the kid is freaking huge. He's only 6 months and he's already on a size 3 in toddlers. Kid is a vice grip, strong as hell. Just love him though. I love him. Yeah, I'm going to Oakland to visit my grandma for a couple days. Can't stay for a week like I used to because it's just, gotta work. Can't afford to just take a bunch of time off, but spend some time with my grandma and just kind of decompress for the year goes down. Get ready for the Senior Bowl, NFLPA stuff, all these bowl games, everything going on. I'm just really excited about that. And yeah, shout out to Tech Squad affiliates. Shout out to Good News Sports, Good News Radio. You already know you can catch us pretty much 8:30-ish every Thursday. And then Friday, we'll have the episode downloadable everywhere. Also, we finally have our Anchor account back, so there will be more content coming from Anchor as well. We got some interviews coming up. Don't worry. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Most importantly, y'all, stay safe out there. I was going to touch on the Mater Dei story. I'll touch on that next week, I guess. But yeah, y'all stay good. Y'all stay blessed, prayed up, and all that. And, look out for each other. So, with that, I bid thee adieu. Peace.